Hello everyone, I am Silan. This is a guide for me, and we will learn about my passives, cards, and my strategies in this video. Let's start off with my keywords and playstyle. My keywords are arcane, spell, shield, crit card, value per turn, shuffle deck, AoE, and satisfaction. And arcane and spell is for the cannons because cannons apply arcane and it is a spell. Critic card is also related to cannons and values as well. Shovel deck is one of his passives. AoE is because he have like one of the best common AoE card in the game. And yeah, this is one I just added because it is pretty satisfaction. And my playstyles are defense, combo, and speed farming. Defense is like because he have the value per turn. Whenever you see some hero have value per turn, it means he probably is good at defense. Speed farming is because he have the very good AoE to speed farming early area to destroy the low health enemies very fast. My special advantage is building arcane. Yeah, I can have arcane apply without actually having an arcane card, which is pretty amazing. I'm not very good at applying debuff. Silan cards only have weak and vulnerable, but no other debuffs. So and also his passives doesn't relate to other debuffs as well. So he's not really good at, but if you find some cards that are really good, it's still pretty good. Basics. Now I will talk about the basic information about his passives and cards. So these are his passives. The first one is his level 1 passive, create cannon blast every turn. The second one is his level 4 passive, create one of the 4 random tools every time you shuffle your deck. I will talk about the tools later in the video. The third one is his level 7 passive. Arcade Detonation deals 40% of their damage to other enemies. And his last level 10 passive is whenever you fully block an enemy attack, create a cannon blast. Upgrade it, you have no shield afterwards. This is just a preview of his passive. I will break down every one of them later. So, because his level 1 passive and his level 10 passive can create a cannon blast, so I will talk about the basic cannon blast first. Let's look at what that cannon blast do. It is 6 cost spell, deal 8 damage to any enemy, apply 8 arcane to it. Reduce cost by 1 when you play a non-mana, non-cannon card. Temporary. Temporary just means this card, if you don't play it, it will go away. So, what that means is you need to, you can reduce cost by 1 when you play another non-mana, non-cannon card. So technically this can reduce to 0 if you play enough cards. And it is actually not very hard if you have some cards that support it. So your goal is to reduce its cost to as low as possible in your turn to play it to get the maximum value. Otherwise, it is you lose the most significant advantage of Silan. And this is the upgrade version. We don't usually plan for the upgrade because it is very rare and it is not very significant upgrade from the basic ones. And yeah, And the recharge and lock and load, these are the two Silan cards which can create additional cannon blast per turn. And lock and load is a really good draw card as well. It's not only a good support card and draw card, especially when you have the level 10 passive. Lock and load will be really useful. Okay, let's move on. Special cannons. There are Silan have 4 special cannons. I will show you one by one. This is the AoE cannon, Scatter Blast, and Scatter Mode. Let's see the Scatter mode first. Transform a Cannon Blast into Scatter Blast. Gain Mighty 1. Cannon Blast is the Cannon Blast we watched like last slide. The Cannon Blast. You have to have a Cannon Blast to transform into a Scatter Blast. Otherwise, you only gain Mighty 1 without doing anything else if you play this card. And this is Scatter Blast. It will deal 10 damage to all enemies. Apply 10 arcane to them. It is still reduced cost by 1. This all Cannon Blast will reduce cost by 1 when you play a non-mana non-cannon card. So this is just basically an AoE version of the Cannon Blast. AoE damage and AoE arcane, and deals a little bit more damage than arcane. It is 8 damage and 8 arcane, and Scatter Blast is 10/10, so it is a little bit more, and it gives you Mighty if you play Scatter mode. And this is his level 4 passive. No, level 7 passive. Arcane Detonation deal 50% of their damage to other enemies. So, apply 10 arcane to all enemies if this receive a detonation, which means all enemies receive a detonation, which means it will deal 40% of their damage to all other enemies multiple times. So this is actually much more damage than what is said on the card with this passive. And that makes it the very big AoE damage. And this is like also very cheap because it is 2 costs and this can reduce to 0, which make it the one of the best AoE cards in common in the whole game. And Mystical Mode. This is the second special cannon. Mystical Mode. It can transform a Cannon Blast into Mystical Blast, draw 1. So if you don't have a Cannon Blast, you only draw 1, 2 cost draw 1 without transforming. And if you transform, it will become apply 16 arcane to any enemy, draw 2. Reduce cost by 1 when you play a non-mana non-cannon card. Yeah, it's the same. So this is basically apply some arcane and draw 2. But pay attention, this is not a spell card. This is a skill. The previous Cannon Blasts are spell, but this one become a skill. So just pay attention to that. It will draw 2. And the upgrade is still draw 2, but apply a little bit more arcane. I don't actually recommend upgrade this card though. This is mostly this card is used for supporting to draw some cards, and not really much other use. Next slide. Defensive energy and defensive mode. The defensive mode says transform a Cannon Blast into defensive energy, gain tough 1. The tough is reduce damage and stage received by 25%. So this is the defensive energy. Gain 12 shields, 36, purity 1, and arcane barrier 2. This This is a full defense card because it does 0 damage and applies 0 arcane besides the arcane barrier, and it is a skill. So this card is mostly used in defensive decks, and because it needs a cannon blast to transform, so you basically lose some damage to gain a lot of defense, shield, sturdy, and purity. And this card is actually really good because all of them and tough is you need for defense decks. It's very useful for defense deck, all of them. So yeah, it is really good, especially when you can use the buff one to buff the purity to more than 2 actually. I will talk about them later. Automatic Blast. Let's see the automatic mode first. Transform a cannon blast into automatic blast. Gain powerful 2 this turn. So this is a temporary powerful 2. And automatic blast is do 2 times 6 damage to any enemy. This is just a multi-hit spell, which works perfect with powerfuls. So basically, if you want to use the automatic mode, you have to have a powerful build already. So basically, you need powerful and you need some either AoE or a lot of multi-hit or multi-state or something like that. Otherwise, yeah, this card is, and also the automatic blast upgrade version is 2 times 9, which is a lot from the upgrade. I recommend upgrade automatic mode if you want to use it. This is really good. This is just okay-ish. Powerful 3 plus 2.9 equals 5 times 9, 45 damage on its own, the automatic mode. Also, I put this here because it is also the temporary powerful, because Silan only have these 2 temporary powerful cards. And you gain 4 mana and powerful 4 this turn. Decrease both values by 1. Yeah, this is actually okay card. It is it is used for the aggro decks. It's not used for defensive deck because it will decrease value, and also the powerful 4 will lose will not remain on next turn. So yeah, it's pretty weird that Silan's powerful cards are only in epics but not common and rare. I don't know why. Let's go to the next slide. Increasing potential. Yes, this is what I'm saying. Increase the effects of all cannon blasts in your hand by 20%, temporary. It will increase the effects, all of the effects, which means it not only the basic cannon blast, also the transformed cannon blast, all of the effects increase by 20%, which includes the damage. It won't increase the hit count. It will increase the sturdy amount, shield amount, purity amount, arcane barrier amount. It will increase draw amount, arcane amount. It will increase damage and arcane. And for the basic cannon, it will still increase the damage and arcane. So this card is actually pretty good. And if you want to use the mystical mode, it is really good with increasing potential because additional draw is very powerful. And there are 2 cards of can create increasing potential. They are charging focus. Gain 2 mana, create 1 increasing potential if I have shield. So you have to have shield to create an increasing potential. Otherwise, you only gain 2 mana. Surprise failure. Deal 3 damage create one increasing potential and one reload. Reload is the 0-cost draw 1 card. So the upgrade version create 2 increasing potential. It is actually good if you are plan to use a lot of cannons. Okay, now let's talk about tools. His level 4 passive is create 1 of 4 random tools every time you shuffle your deck. And these 4 are the 4 random tools he can get. The first one is Flashbomb. Deal 5 damage to all enemies, give them weak 1. Oh, it will you will get 1 random tool each time. There's no others, like you can get hidden pocket like 5 times in a row if you are lucky or unlucky. So they have no orders, it is fully random. Flash Bomb. Deal 5 damage to all enemies, give them weak 1. Weak will decrease damage dealt on enemies by 25%. So this one is, well, the AoE card, and they also apply a AoE debuff. It's actually pretty good unless a lot of enemies have the reflect. Healing Potion, gain 2 mana, heal 4. This is really solid card because it gives mana, of course, and it costs 0 because it's created. So it's usually is like and also it is not a mana card. Pay attention. It is a tool card. Although it gains mana, it is still a tool card. Hidden Pocket. Draw 1 skill, gain width 1 temporary. This one is actually pretty good as well. It will draw a skill and give you a width. Not much to say with this card. Squirrel Defense. Gain 6 shield and 33. This one can give shield, which can enable the what is it called? The charging focus, so you can get an increasing potential if you lost your shield but you have the squirrel defense. And Study will increase your max shield amount and your shield gain as well. This one is actually okay, but the amount is not that high, so you can't really just use squirrel defense for your only defense strategy. All of them are just some support tools. They are not like you can win your fight with these tools. Okay, next slide. Silan shield theme cards. Silan have multiple shield theme cards and also a shield theme passive, which is the whenever you block fully block an enemy attack, create 1 cannon blast. Upgrade if you are not sure at first. So let's look at the armor up first. Gain 10 shield plus shield equal to 20% of your maximum shield. This one you need to use Study to increase your maximum shield to give you a lot of shield for armor up. This is not recommend this one for new players because you need to have a lot of Study card like the Frozen Hide. Frozen Hide is very good combo with armor up. And when you have a lot of Study, this armor up can get crazy amount of shield, which can like block all damage in 1 turn usually, which helps you win after you get a lot of Study. Shield Potion. Gain 20 shield, transform into empty potion and keep it in hand. Empty potion is a 0 cost, deal 4 damage draw card. So removed. So this card actually, after you transform into empty potion, you use it, it will remove immediately. So this is just a one-time use big shield card. It is really good. Really good because it will remove itself. So and it have retain. So even if you draw it with fatigue, you can still use it next turn for free and draw a card. But I don't recommend upgrade though, because it will remove itself, so you lost the chance to do it. Also, it can be used in aggro decks as well, because it will just give you some shield and deal damage and draw a card. Why not? Defensive energy. Yeah, I talked about this with the cannons. It is still a shield theme card. Gives shield, sturdy, purity, and arcane barrier too. It is really good, really good. I like this card a lot. All of them is necessary with is like defense decks likes all of them. And yeah, this one is so shield because I put it here. This is not a Silan card, but I put it here to compare with armor up. So if you don't like to bring armor because you don't want to bring like a lot of sturdy, so you can bring soul shield for the 14 shield and purity too. This is a pretty solid card as well. But if you find purity not very useful for you, you can try some other shield card. This one I recommend for like high level players who can use the purity is very valuable in there. Okay, next slide. Combos and tips. This one I already the previous slides are the basic stuff. Now I will talk about some Silan combos and strategy tips. Supporters. So because the Cannon Blast needs to reduce cost, ideally zero cost to get the greatest value. So we need some supporters to reduce cannon cost. Supporters are just play non-mana cards, non-mana non-cannon cards, right? So basically, all other cards that can give you at least two or three cards, or even draw cards, they are good supporters for the cannons. For example, charging filters. It not only can give you 2 mana, create 1 increasing potential. Because increasing potential is a skill, it will still reduce the cannon cost by 1. And Crossbow Strike, it is a super great supporter because it will give them vulnerable, which increase their damage received and state received by 25%. And create 1 reload. Reload is here. So Crossbow Strike, it will deal damage, it will give them a debuff, and it will draw a card, and it will reduce cost of cannons by 2 total, because it's 2 cards. That's why it's a pretty valuable support card for cannons. Surprisingly fair, we meet again. So deals 3 damage to any enemy, deal damage, create 1 increasing potential, and 1 reload. So this one is an upgrade version of Crossbow Strike. It changed the vulnerable to increasing potential to yes, and it will decrease 1 more cost because because you use 1 more card. And it is a rare card though. This is a common card, so you can't see them like you can't put it in starting deck. And other neutral supporters are something like Hunting Memories. There are a lot. I just picked 2 examples in here. Like something like Hunting Memory can create other cards, and something like Pocket Shield who can draw them, and they are especially they are very cheap. Look, all of them are very cheap because Silan doesn't really have a lot of mana, so you usually need very cheap cards to reduce cannon cost. And next slide. Other special tips. This passive create 1 of the 4 random tools every time you shuffle your deck. Shuffle your deck have like there are 2 ways to shuffle your deck. One way is to draw all of the cards in your draw pile, and then after your draw pile is empty, and you draw another card, it will shuffle your deck automatically. This is like when you don't have specific draws. But if you have specific draw like draw a streak, draw a spell, draw a skill, something like that, and your draw pile doesn't have the specific card, but your discard pile have, then your deck will automatically shuffle and draw the specific card you draw. Which means if you have 2 Rallying Streak in your deck, only 2 Rallying Streak as streak in your deck. When you play one, you will draw another one, and the first one will go into discard pile. And when you play the second one, you will draw the first one in discard pile, which means you will shuffle your deck and create 1 tool. And then the second one will go into discard pile instead. And then you use the first one, you will draw the second one again. So each time you use a Rallying Streak, when the other Rallying Streak is in discard pile, you can shuffle your deck and create 1 tool. And you can repeat it multiple times in that turn, which can get a lot of value. But I mean, it costs 1 and it will eat fatigue very fast because you know you draw a lot of, if you draw a lot of cards you will get fatigue, and Rallying Streak eats fatigue like much faster than other cards. So, and it only deals 3 damage, so it is actually not as effective as we expected, but it is still a small tip, like a deck building strategy for you guys. I haven't like really create a good deck with Rallying Streak. I tried to create some, but they are not very super effective yet. So someday we may create a very effective Rallying Streak deck. Maybe someone who really want to do it and who actually create a very effective deck. Maybe. Who knows? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Other cards I want to say. So there are some other cards I didn't say before. Arcane Crystal. This card reduce the cost of all cards in your hand by 2 this turn, gain Arcane League 1. This card itself is not bad actually. It is pretty valuable because it can decrease all cards in hand by 2 this turn. Sometimes it is like 6 or 8 cost value. But it have a downside of Arcane League 1, and also it works when your hand have a lot of cards, and their cost is like 2 or more. It not only worked, and it's not work very well when you only have a few cards in your hand and most of them are lower than 2. Then Arcane Crystal is pretty useless on that. Okay, so it is very, so Arcane Crystal is sometimes it is good, sometimes you can't take it, that card. Okay, next card. Spell Wave. So like I mentioned before, the cannon is a spell, right? So Spell Wave will also increase the damage of cannons. Each spell wave will increase by 4%. So this is a card called Consuming Incantation. It will deal 10 damage to any enemy and spell wave too. You can use other spell wave cards as well. But here's an example because this really made into a Silan deck and it's working very well. You will give spell wave 2, and it can combo with spell scry to draw 2 of them to deal damage. And also this is a target draw, so you sometimes will shuffle your deck in the middle of the process to create another additional 2. And also spell wave not only increase the damage of consuming incantations, also increase the damage of cannons. So it's actually a pretty good strategy with this. There are some decks that, some Silan decks that build around this combo. And also cards that summon Vengeful Shade, because I mentioned Silan have the great AoE cards. So summon Vengeful Shade is usually is free when you have the AoE in hand. So this is like free 8 mana, it's a lot. This is just an example. You can bring other shade summon cards, of course. So when you are using the Silan AoE deck, you can try to bring some summon shade cards into your deck so that they can be killed for free. Yeah, it's pretty good. And next slide. Thank you for watching my Silan guide. Yeah, this is my first time actually to create a deck and actually present it. Hope you like it. I will create some other guides like general guide, general play guide, like Titan guide later. See you, bye bye.